I was holding a ring box that wasn't mine. That's the moment I want to start with. Because if I told you this story from the beginning, you'd think it was just a normal love story. A cute one even. But it wasn't. It was the night my boyfriend of 4 years got down on one knee, in front of my whole family, and proposed to my sister. On our anniversary. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being dramatic for views. This actually happened to me. And if you're going through something similar right now, if someone you trusted broke you in a way you never saw coming, I want you to stay with me. Because by the end of this video, I promise you, you're going to feel a little less alone. Let me back up. Let me tell you how we even got here. My name doesn't really matter for this story, so I'll just tell it to you the way I'd tell it to a friend over coffee. Grab your coffee, or your tea, or whatever you're drinking right now. This is going to take a while. But it's worth it. I met my ex, let's just call him M, when I was 22. I was fresh out of college, still figuring out who I was, still living paycheck to paycheck in a tiny apartment with a roommate who never did the dishes. M was different. He was steady. He had a good job in logistics, he paid his bills on time, and he made me laugh in a way nobody else did. We dated for about 8 months before he met my family. And that's where this story really starts to twist. I have one sister. Her name, I'll call her Jay. Jay is 2 years younger than me. Growing up, we were close. Like really close. We shared a room until I was 16. We used to stay up whispering about boys, about our dreams, about which one of us would get married first. I always thought it would be a sweet competition. Something we'd laugh about at each other's weddings someday. I never thought it would turn into this. When I brought him home for the first time, everything seemed normal. My mom liked him. My dad shook his hand a little too firmly, the way dads do when they're trying to seem intimidating. And Jay was polite. Maybe a little quiet. I didn't think anything of it. You might be wondering, did you notice anything weird back then? Honestly, no. I look back now and I search for clues, the way you do after something like this happens. And there were little things. Little glances. Little comments. But at the time, I brushed all of it off. Because who thinks their own sister would do something like this? Nobody thinks that. Until it happens to them. For the first 2 years, things were good. Genuinely good. Em and I moved in together. We adopted a dog. We started talking about the future. Where we'd live, how many kids we wanted, all of it. My family loved him. He came to every holiday. He helped my dad fix the garage door one summer, and my dad still talks about how solid Em was with tools. Jay started dating around that time too. A string of guys who never really stuck. I remember feeling bad for her. I'd tell her, "Don't worry, your person is coming." I meant it. I wanted her to be happy. That's the part that still hurts the most when I think about it now. I genuinely wanted good things for her. But somewhere in year 3, something shifted. And I felt it before I could explain it. Em started working late more often. He said it was a new project at work, some big client account that needed extra hours. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He'd never given me a reason not to. At the same time, Jay started coming around more. She'd stop by our apartment when Em was home and I was at work. She'd say she was in the neighborhood. She started asking me questions about our relationship that felt a little too specific. Does he still get you flowers? Do you guys still do date night? Are you thinking about marriage soon? I told myself she was just curious. Sisters ask questions like that. It's normal. I never thought I'd say this, but I was wrong. I was so wrong. Let me tell you about the months leading up to our anniversary, because this is where things get heavy. This is the rising difficulty part of my story, the part where everything started cracking, piece by piece, and I didn't even see it happening. Financially, Em and I were struggling a bit. Rent had gone up. My hours at work got cut. We were arguing more about money than we ever had before. Small arguments. Nothing that felt like a red flag. Just the normal stress of adult life pressing down on us. During this time, Em started being distant. Not cold exactly, just somewhere else. Mentally checked out. I told myself it was the money stress. I told myself it was work. I told myself a lot of things because the alternative, that something was actually wrong, felt too scary to consider. My mom noticed it too. She called me one afternoon and said, "Is everything okay with you and Em? You seem off lately." I remember snapping at her a little. I said, "We're fine, Mom. Just tired." I regret that conversation more than almost any other one in this whole story, because deep down, some part of me already knew something wasn't fine. Around this same time, Jay got a new job. She started working closer to our apartment. She'd message me things like, "I'm on your side of town, want to grab lunch?" And sometimes I'd say yes. Sometimes I was busy and I'd tell her to just swing by the apartment and say hi to Em since he worked from home on Fridays. I want you to sit with that for a second. I told my sister to go hang out with my boyfriend, because I trusted both of them completely. That's the part that gets me. Not the proposal itself. Not even the betrayal. It's the trust. The trust one handed over so freely, to two people who I thought loved me. Our anniversary was coming up. 4 years together. I'd been planning it for weeks. I wanted it to be special because I secretly hoped, deep in my heart, that this might be the year Em finally proposed. We'd talked about marriage in vague ways before, but nothing concrete. I thought maybe, just maybe, this was it. I booked a private room at a restaurant we loved. The same place we had our first date. I invited our families to come for dessert afterward as a surprise because I thought if he did propose, I wanted our parents there to celebrate with us. I planned every detail. The candles. The song that would play when we walked in. Even the outfit I wore. It was a soft blue dress Em once told me was his favorite color on me. I remember getting ready that night feeling more nervous than I had in years. My hands were actually shaking as I did my makeup. I kept thinking, tonight might change everything. It did. Just not the way I imagined. We got to the restaurant around 7. Em seemed nervous too, which only made my heart race more. I thought, this is it. He's going to ask me tonight. Dinner went by in this blur of candlelight and nervous small talk. Around dessert, just like I planned, our families started arriving quietly one by one, and took their seats at a nearby table without Em noticing. My mom winked at me from across the room. My dad gave me a thumbs up. Jay walked in last, in a stunning red dress, which I remember thinking was a strange choice for someone showing up to support her sister's anniversary. But again, I didn't think anything of it. Not yet. Then Em stood up. He tapped his glass like people do before a toast. My heart nearly stopped. This was it. I remember smiling so hard my cheeks hurt. He started talking. He said things like, "The last 4 years have taught me so much about what I want in a partner." He said, "I've realized what real love looks like." He said, "I've never felt this certain about anything in my life." I was crying already. Happy tears. I reached for his hand. And then he turned. He didn't turn to me. He turned to Jay. He got down on one knee in front of her chair, pulled out a small black box and said, "Jay, will you marry me?" I want you to imagine that moment for a second. Imagine sitting there in your anniversary dress, tears already on your cheeks from happiness, and then watching the man you love propose to your own sister, in front of your entire family, on your anniversary. The room went completely silent. I remember hearing my own heartbeat in my ears, like it was trying to drown out what was happening in front of me. My mom's hand flew to her mouth. My dad just stared, frozen, like his brain couldn't process the scene either. And Jay said yes. She said yes with tears in her eyes, like this was the most romantic moment of her life. Like she wasn't sitting across from the sister whose anniversary dinner she just hijacked. I don't remember standing up. I don't remember walking out. My mom told me later that I just left. Quietly. No screaming, no scene. I walked straight out of that restaurant in my blue dress, into the parking lot, and I sat in my car for what felt like hours. You might be wondering how something like this could even happen without me noticing sooner. Trust me, I've asked myself that same question 1,000 times since that night. Later, I found out the truth. All of it. And honestly, the truth hurt almost as much as the proposal itself. Em and Jay had been seeing each other for almost 8 months. Those work late nights. Some of them were real. Some of them were spent with my sister. Those Friday afternoons I told her to stop by our apartment. That's when things between them actually started. My own mother later admitted she'd suspected something for a while, but didn't want to believe it. Didn't want to be the one to break our family apart with an accusation she wasn't sure about. I understood her silence, even if it hurt. Nobody wants to believe the people they love could do something like this. The worst part, the part that still makes my chest tighten when I think about it, is that Jay planned her outfit that night. She told a mutual friend later that she knew the proposal was coming. She wore red on purpose. She wanted to stand out in the pictures. There were pictures, by the way. Em had hired a photographer to document the surprise. A surprise that was surprising to only one person in that entire restaurant. Me. I spent the next 2 weeks basically shut down. I didn't go to work. I barely ate. I slept most days until noon and then just laid on my couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every single detail, searching for the moment I should have seen it coming. My friends tried to reach out. My mom called every day. I ignored most of it. I felt embarrassed. I felt humiliated. I felt like the whole world had watched me get replaced by my own sister. And in some horrible way, I felt like maybe it was my fault. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe there was something wrong with me that made him choose her instead. I know now that thinking is a trap. But in that moment, it felt like the only explanation that made sense. I stopped talking to Jay completely. My dad tried to play peacemaker for a while, saying things like, "Family is family, you'll find a way to work through this eventually." I remember looking at him and saying, "Dad, she didn't borrow my sweater. She took my fiancé." That shut the conversation down pretty fast. My mom, to her credit, chose my side completely. She told Jay she wouldn't be attending any wedding, wouldn't be helping plan anything, wouldn't pretend this was some sweet family story. That meant more to me than I can explain. Having at least one person in my corner, unconditionally, kept me from completely falling apart. Here's where things got worse before they got better. Because betrayal like this doesn't just end once. It echoes. A few weeks after the incident, I started getting messages from mutual friends. Some of them had seen photos from that night on social media. Jay had posted the proposal pictures, red dress and all, with some caption about finding her person. People who didn't know the full story were commenting things like, "Congratulations," and "You two are perfect together." I remember sitting there, refreshing that post over and over, feeling sick every single time a new comment came in. Nobody knew what I'd lost that night. To the internet, it just looked like a beautiful proposal story. I finally broke down and told a close friend the whole truth. She was horrified. She encouraged me to say something publicly, to set the record straight. Part of me wanted to, but a bigger part of me just wanted to disappear from the whole situation entirely. I didn't want pity. I didn't want to be the girl whose sister stole her fiancé. I just wanted my old life back, the one where I still trusted people. Financially, things got harder too. Em and I had shared an apartment, remember? Suddenly I had 30 days to find a new place, on a budget that had already been stretched thin before all of this happened. I ended up moving into a small studio that was honestly kind of depressing, just 4 walls and a mattress on the floor for the first 2 weeks because I couldn't afford a bed frame yet. I remember one night sitting on that mattress, eating cold noodles straight out of the container, and just laughing. Not because anything was funny, because it was so absurd. My life had turned into something I didn't recognize, in the span of one dinner. There was a night, maybe 6 weeks after everything happened, that I consider the true turning point of this whole story. I was sitting on my mattress, scrolling through old photos on my phone. Photos of me and Em. Photos of me and Jay from when we were kids. And I found this one picture, Jay and I, maybe 7 and 9 years old, sitting on our grandmother's porch, arms around each other, missing teeth, huge smiles. I stared at that photo for a long time, and I asked myself a question that changed everything for me. Do I want to spend the rest of my life angry? Because here's the truth nobody tells you about betrayal. The person who hurt you moves on with their life. Em and Jay were planning a wedding. They were building a future. Meanwhile, I was the one sitting alone in an empty apartment, replaying the worst night of my life over and over, letting it control every single thought I had. I realized in that moment that staying angry wasn't punishing them. It was punishing me. That doesn't mean I forgave them right away. I want to be honest with you. Forgiveness took a lot longer than one epiphany on a mattress at midnight. But that night was when I decided I wanted my life back. Not the old life. A new one. One where I wasn't defined by what happened to me. So here's what I did. And I hope if you're going through something similar, this part helps you too. First, I went to therapy. I know that sounds like such a simple, obvious answer, but I want to be real with you. I resisted it for weeks. I thought I could just push through on my own. I couldn't. Having someone neutral to talk to, someone who wasn't going to take sides or gossip about it, gave me a place to actually process what happened instead of just replaying it. Second, I set real boundaries with my family. I told my dad clearly that I wouldn't be attending Jay's wedding, and if he chose to attend, that was his choice, but I needed him to respect that I couldn't be there. He struggled with that for a while. Eventually he understood. My mom, like I said, was already firmly in my corner. Third, and this one was hard, I stopped checking their social media. I unfollowed. I muted. I removed every single way I could accidentally stumble across updates about their relationship. It sounds small, but that single decision gave me so much peace. I stopped torturing myself with information I never needed in the first place. Fourth, I focused on rebuilding financially. I picked up extra shifts. I made a strict budget. Slowly, month by month, my studio apartment started to feel like a home instead of a hole I was hiding in. I bought that bed frame. I bought a little plant for my windowsill. Small things, but they mattered. And fifth, this took the longest, I worked on rebuilding trust in myself. Not in other people yet. In myself. Trusting my own judgment again after feeling so blindsided. That process is still ongoing, if I'm honest with you. But it's so much better than where I started. It's been almost 2 years since that night. Jay and M did get married, about a year after the proposal. I wasn't there. I found out it happened through a mutual friend. Not through any dramatic confrontation. Just a quiet mention in conversation. I felt something when I heard it. A small ache, sure. But nothing close to what I expected. Time really does soften things, even betrayals this big. My relationship with Jay is basically non-existent now. We don't talk. We don't see each other at holidays anymore, which changed our whole family dynamic. My parents split their time now, sometimes seeing her, sometimes seeing me, navigating a divide neither of them ever imagined they'd have to manage. It's not perfect. Families rarely are after something like this. But we're all finding our way through it. As for me, I'm in a completely different place now. I started dating again about a year ago, slowly, carefully, giving myself permission to trust again without rushing it. I'm with someone now who has never once made me question his loyalty. It's a strange feeling, honestly, being with someone trustworthy after everything. Sometimes I still brace myself for a betrayal that never comes. I'm working on unlearning that fear. I also want to say this clearly, because I think it's important. I don't hate my sister. I know that might surprise some of you. I'm not saying I've fully forgiven her, or that I ever will completely. But I've let go of the hate, because holding on to it was only hurting me. What she did was wrong. Deeply wrong. But I refuse to let her actions define the rest of my life. If you're watching this and you've been through something similar, if someone you loved chose someone you trusted over you, if your own family member betrayed you in a way that felt unimaginable, I want you to hear this clearly. It is not your fault. I spent months thinking there was something wrong with me. There wasn't. Sometimes people make selfish, cruel choices, and it has nothing to do with your worth. It has everything to do with their character. I also want you to know that the pain does soften. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it disappears completely, because that wouldn't be honest. But it does get smaller. It does get quieter. And one day, you'll realize you went a whole day without thinking about it. Then a whole week. Then it becomes just a chapter, instead of the whole story. You deserve people who choose you fully, not people who make you question your place in your own life. If this story meant something to you, if any part of it felt familiar, I want you to do something for me. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever been betrayed by someone you least expected? I read every single comment, and honestly, hearing other people's stories has helped me heal more than almost anything else. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I share real stories like this one every week, stories about hardship, betrayal, and the slow, messy process of rebuilding a life you didn't expect to need rebuilding. And if you're going through something hard right now, I want you to know this. You are going to get through it. Maybe not today, maybe not this month, but you will. Thank you for sitting with me through this story. I'll see you in the next one.